So I'd like to talk now a little bit about some of the key products from 20 years of Alienware history. I think the first one that stands out to me is not the first one or two sort of off-the-shelf chassis boxes that you probably made yourself and sent to magazines, but really the first one that was called like the Area 51. That was sort of the first real, Alienware branded
the Predator
box.
chassis, the one that had the biomorphic shape to it, that was near and dear to my heart. It had to represent speed, performance, and the brand itself. So we really thought about an industrial design that was out there and that people that appreciated performance would love. And sure enough, that was the first, what we call a Predator chassis.
And that chassis has really set like the iconic nature of every product since it.
It took a good full 2.5 years to come up with that design.
I mean, even today, a lot of gaming boutique makers don't make their own cases; they just use square, off-the-shelf cases. So, 15 years later, it's still difficult to imagine. Was that something like somebody sculpted out of clay for you guys?
Oh, yeah. We had it. You dealt with the industrial design firm.
One of the first things we did is we had to find the right industrial design firm to partner with because we didn't have our own industrial design team. This was our first venture in building our own thing from the ground up.
Did one of you guys like sketch it out on paper and go, I want it to look roughly like this?
Yeah,
Nelson's an artist.
Yeah, so I sketched it out, and then we had a 3D designer that worked on staff, and he made some sketches, and then we turned that into the industrial design team that we hired. I always thought that it should be biomorphic in nature and have a real alien-esque feel to it that speaks to performance.
I mean, one of the big moves, I think, was the first Area 51M, which, as far as I can remember, was the first like real gaming laptop. Other people had tried, kind of high-performance laptops, but not really built for gaming, even though it's something you'd think people would be crying out for. How difficult was that to make something like that work, considering the hardware available in like 2002?
Well, it's dealing with the various OEMs and
even before we get to that, I remember. I remember Nelson and one product planner basically saying we're going to go build a notebook, and the company just saying you're crazy. No one's ever going to buy a gaming notebook, and barely anybody supported them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When you made that first notebook, what's the number one thing that you said in the next version we're going to fix this or change this?
Thermal issues. I mean, just there's so much power consumption, and you needed to dissipate the heat. It was a big concern. It wasn't easy. Right.
I forgot that desktops used to get this big. And it's got the door in the front. It's got the little lock on it so nobody can get to your little floppy drive in here and your DVD writer. Was this about as gigantic? This is the first one with water cooling, right? Or liquid cooling.
First desktop ever produced with liquid cooling.
And that has become such a mainstay now. Did you think that every company on the planet that made gaming PCs would adopt that in some form?
Never. I remember the first time a liquid cooling system failed on the factory floor, and our production manager calls me, and he's like, Frank, I'm going to need you to come out here. One of your systems failed. And he goes, I'm going to need you to bring a mop when you come out, please. And I knew exactly what he's talking about. But you look at the technology and how much it's evolved. I mean, we used to use literally fish tank pumps to pump the water through the system, and these very primitive heat exchangers and the hoses we would use and the pressure we would use. All these things, because we've been doing it so long, today you look at the liquid cooling systems that we use today and we co-design them with a partner. And I mean, they're self-contained, they require zero maintenance. You used to have to refill that thing every 6 months because it would evaporate.
I remember tutorials on how to do that. And you have to open it up and be super careful. The M11x, I remember seeing this, I think, at CES 2010, if I'm not mistaken, and we were blown away.
You it there, right? Yeah.
And we were blown away that you could actually get gaming level graphics in something, this small, and it's an 11-inch gaming laptop, and I don't think anyone had ever done that before.
Arthur introduced it at CES 2010, and this was a lot of different things coming together and making it possible to be able to create the M11x. One is we had the netbook kind of revolution going on, and that made the way for some pretty decent 11-inch screens to finally come onto the scene in the market. Mobile gaming graphics were actually pretty viable as a gaming solution in TDP packages or thermal packages that could fit inside a form factor like this. And Intel was making a processor that we could also fit inside of a form factor like this. When we looked at all of those components and we kind of started testing them in the labs, we started realizing this thing is actually a pretty powerful gaming system. We've got something here. Back then we had 12-pound notebooks and 9-pound notebooks, and we wanted to create something that you could actually comfortably carry all day long and not get a backache. Largely thanks to Steam's Greenlight effort and the emergence of a massive library of indie game developers out there, we've seen some incredible games come to the PC that are better suited to play in front of the TV with a crowd of your friends in the room on gamepads. And in order to extend that experience to the living room prior to us building this product, you had to pretty much put a big, bulky desktop like the one behind Dan in your living room or in your bedroom attached to your TV, and it just wasn't a comfortable experience. It didn't seem natural, right? We partnered with Valve, we created the Steam Machine Initiative, and it's done fairly well. We also created the alpha, the Windows version of this, and that's done very well, and customers are absolutely loving this product. It has an 85% customer recommendation rate right now, and over 4.5 stars. People absolutely love the product. It's not gonna matter so much what platform you're playing on, it's gonna matter what game you wanna play, and you'll have the choice of playing that on any platform that you'd like. And now the alpha's turned into this incredible opportunity and this really iconic kind of PC console product in the industry that's just, tearing things up and making
it's
huge
actually
waves.
successful because people have tried this in the past and it hasn't really worked out.